Ever since I was in like, I don't know, high school, South Park's had this special place in my heart. It's become one of my favorite shows. It's helped me connect better with my dad, and I just really like it. I watch episodes as they come out, uh, but oddly enough, the games for some reason I never play them right away. I always seem to sit on them. So if they make a third game, I'm probably going to end up sitting on that one too. I'm playing it eventually, of course, but just not playing it right away for some reason, which is weird because the games are fantastic. At any rate, I'm finally playing The Fractured But Whole. It's quite different from the first one. I mean, it's still very much like a South Park episode, so don't expect the humor to be much different. I feel like in a couple instances it gets even stupider, which, I've got no problem with that, but it's so weird. This show is always so weird. But anyway, the gameplay style is a bit different this time around. It's not, classic turn-based RPG type stuff, which, I mean, it worked for the last game. There's a lot about the last game that I don't remember. There's like a few specific instances I do, and then a lot that I don't. But this one is significantly different from the first one. Rather than turn-based RPG style, you have, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like this grid-based type system. It's different, it's weird, but I kind of like it. It works. So pretty early on, you get your starting superhero class, because that's what this is about now. It's not high fantasy, it's superheroes. Because, Marvel and DC and all that, whatever. First you had to cash in on the Game of Thrones hype, now you got to cash in on the Marvel hype. So, here we go. So, early on, you get your starting classes. You get to pick from, I think 3 starting. You get to be Brutalist, Blaster, or Speedster. So you could be the Flash, the Hulk, or Iron Man? I don't know. What's a Blaster type? I don't know. Anyway, so you get those 3 starting classes, and at first it's like, that seems pretty limiting. That doesn't seem to be a whole lot there. But okay. But later on, you'll get access to other classes. You'll be able to do hybrid classes, and then by the end of the game, you can choose abilities from any class. That takes quite a while to get to, but in all honesty, once I got to the Plantmancer class, I just went with that the rest of the game. I mean, it's so good. I can see why they keep it under wraps for so long, because it's just such a good class. You've got this knockback with bleed, you've got an AoE heal, you've got a charm ability, and then you've got a universal heal plus revive, which, that's just stupid broken. I mean, sure, the overall damage for that class isn't great, but, it's enough status effects and heals that it doesn't really matter. But I think starting off, I went Blaster, which is fine, it's passable. I'd say the earlier classes are not super exciting, because right away you already have a Speedster in your party. You have Jimmy right away, so you've already got a Speedster. You've already got, I think, access to 2 Brutalists, so might as well not pick a third unless you just want to destroy everyone. I don't know. I mean, Brutalists do a lot of damage, but it's just kind of it's kind of boring, but okay. Then, let's see. And then Blaster, I mean, you got a half Blaster, I guess, already, but I'd say the Blaster is, starting off, probably the most diverse and different from the other people you have, in your party, or at least access to. And honestly, a lot of the supporting cast, I mean, I guess it's technically the main cast of the show, but a lot of the cast is they've got good abilities, and I would say there weren't a whole lot of partner characters that I was really yes, I want this person on my team at all times. Definitely. It was just kind of okay. There's a few that I kind of like. I tended to pick Cartman a lot because he's got bleed and good mobility, stuff like that. And I usually tried to have someone with a heal somewhere, which which works because there's plenty of characters with heals. But other than that, it was just kind of like, all right, cool, whatever. I would say you get access to more exciting party members a little later on. But again, even then, I was never really like, yes, that one, for sure. At least not for the most part. There was like maybe 1 or 2 through the entire game that I was like, yes, I want that person on my team. But yeah, the grid system, it works. It's interesting. I would say it's more strategic than the previous system, because that was just, turn-based. You got to worry about numbers and blah blah blah. This one you got to like worry about placement, displacement. There's just more going on, more tactical. I kind of like that, but there's still a bunch of like equipable stuff where it's like, okay, here's some more background numbers, and it's like, okay, don't, whatever. I mean, it helps, but it's like, what? Okay. But of course, the big thing about this one's the jokes, because it's a South Park game. It's the jokes. That's the most important part. And my God, did the jokes deliver as per usual. I mean, it's like, what else do you expect from South Park? I mean, a lot like the first one, they were able to take a lot more risks, because, they don't have to worry about TV censorship on Comedy Central or anything like that. They can just go balls to the wall, whatever they want. And it's good. It's good. I like it. There's... I don't remember a whole lot from the first one, but somehow I feel like the jokes are even dumber in this one, which I have no problem with. My God. Your whole superhero backstory is about how your dad did your mom, which that sounds about right. And then, you're doing like, it starts off, the whole thing is this missing cat, and then you find out there's way more to it, and there's like mystery, but it's really dumb. And then you find out you have time fart powers, because the previous game, it was all about farts. That was pretty much the whole game. It was all about farting, and never farting on anyone's balls. But this time around, you just have farts going on. It's not quite what it was before. Now you do have... There are some superpowers that you can use your farts with, but it's not like you're combining them. It's like, oh, this power is a fart. Okay. But for the most part, farts are going to be like supplementary, I guess. They're not usually part of your classes. They're like, you can pause time and then beat up on someone. You can reverse time to take away someone's turn. Stuff like that. And you get more time fart powers as the game goes on. And that explains why they initially wanted to call the game the Butthole of Time. But yeah. There's plenty to do in this game. There's so many side quests. That one of the first side quests you get is finding all the Craig and Tweak Yowie in the town. There's this quest like 2/3 of the way into the game, where that one's a main quest, but you go into this genetics lab where they just put butts on things, and that's it. That's the whole goal, is we're gonna put more butts on things. There's this whole bit that keeps going on throughout the game of finding yourself and discovering who you truly are, and it's just adding to your character sheet. And because you get a character sheet starting off, but like one of the first things you add is, what is your gender? And being as it's, I don't remember when this game came out, but being as it was past 2015, of course, gotta have all the genders. So they have male, female, other. Then it's like, okay, what's your sexuality? Are you gay, bi, straight, like numerous other things? Like just like an obnoxious number of options. Are you trans? Just so many things. So anyway, and I double checked. You can pick different options, and depending on the options, you get certain dialogue trees. But then, regardless of what you pick, every time you go through one of these parts of the games where you discover things about yourself or whatever, or you decide your identity, a bunch of rednecks come up and beat you up. Yes, even if you pick straight cis white male, a bunch of cis straight white rednecks will come beat you up, and they'll be like, "Oh, we don't take kindly to your types around here." It's like, nice, nice. So yeah, and then much like the first game, you got. It's not Facebook this time. It's Coonstagram, not Instagram. Coonstagram. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And your follower count doesn't really affect a whole lot. It's kind of just to do it, and it's where a bunch of quests are. Like if you want to befriend the town priest, what's his name? Father Mackey, or Father Maxey? That's what it is. You have to you go to the church, and then he's like, "Okay, I want you to sit in this dark room for a minute." And I was like, "Oh no, something's coming." And then you have to fight two priests who want to diddle your boy hole. So, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't leave a child in a dark room for just a few minutes without you guys coming around." Like, okay. The jokes are just they're on point. My God. And I think my favorite one. I'm not gonna go over too many of the jokes because, that would spoil the fun. But there's one more that I have to. It's the one where it's one of the bosses, and this boss hired a bunch of minions, and they created a mech made out of Mexicans. So it's a Mexican. It's so dumb. Oh no, there's one other thing that I noticed that some people might not realize. Because I had subtitles on through the whole thing, and some ninjas show up at some point. Why ninjas? I don't know. But they're hired by the Chinese guy that runs City Walk, and he, and I think it seems like he hired a bunch of Koreans because every time they speak, the subtitles say "speaking Korean," but most of the time they're not actually speaking Korean. They'll be like, "I shop in my ninja suit," or something like that. It's like that's English. That's just really bad English. Yeah, I'll no more telling of the jokes because again, that would ruin the experience. There's plenty more jokes where that came from. That's not even a handful. But yeah, it's the game's hilarious. The combat surprisingly works. There's plenty of superhero stuff that they make fun of and do, and it's really cool. And a lot of some of the powers of some of the side characters and some of the powers that you can choose from are quite interesting. This is one where, much like the first one, you could probably play through it multiple times with different classes to get a different game experience. I mean, obviously the story's going to be the same, but it's fun. The quests are good. The characters are hilarious. Things are a lot different in this one. Like, people are crazy. It's weird. But yeah, it was fun. I really liked it. If you're a fan of South Park, I would absolutely play this. I don't know why I keep sitting on these, sometimes for years at a time, apparently. But yeah, it was good. Great even. And there's DLC, but I don't know if I want to get it or not. I mean, it's probably going to be great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know how much comes with it. I think a new class comes with it, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I will, but I've got so many other games to play, so we'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening. Definitely check this game out, and be sure to click all the buttons. And I hope you have a great day.